Doug, what does it mean to have sound ethics?
Well, okay, sound ethics. Christians might say, well, you observe the Ten Commandments. How about good ethics?
We were talking about Richard Mayberry yesterday and the 17-word solution, which is his way he defined it.
Yeah, very, very good. Rick gets a little bit picayune about the exactness of his particular definition, but he's absolutely right, absolutely right. And I admire Rick for promoting, do all that you say you're going to do and don't aggress against other people or their property. Okay, do that. I like to keep things simple. You can't remember the thousands and thousands of volumes of laws. So ignorance of the law is not an excuse. That's total bullshit, because of course it's an excuse. You can't know all these stupid laws, even the Ten Commandments.
Right, can't.
So it's easy to remember two things like 2, 3, many. Primitive people count that way.
Which we are.
We are. So you can remember two things. Everybody can do that. But I think it's easier to remember one thing. And my one thing is I'm just looking at people the way they are. The whole of the law is do as thou wilt, but be prepared to accept the consequences. People forget that second part. So figure things out. And if you have to figure everything out yourself, maybe you'll make the wrong decision, but at least it'll be a thought out decision.
I mean, that's a good political philosophy, I think, because you're understanding that you can exercise power or use force on others or coerce your environment or structure your environment, to use a better word, but there are consequences or repercussions from everything that you might do. But I don't know if that provides an ethical framework so much.
Well, yeah.
This is more of a recognition of reality.
Yeah, you're right. But maybe having good ethics is just recognizing reality, however you interpret it. Because if you have what most people would consider bad ethics, where people say, that's a bad dude, bad guy. Well, what are the consequences of that? Is it going to end well? Well, sometimes I guess it does.
For a while.
Yeah.
I think of it as, that's true. I guess I just think of it as that the ethical part is if you're doing something, and this is, I guess, what Rick Mayberry is really talking about, if you're doing something that is exacting, that's coercive or acting in, with force against another person in some way, then that's violence, I guess, in a form of violence.
Yeah.
And that has consequences, and you should try and avoid engaging in any preemptive violence on anybody and anything.
Of course, Rick's 17-word solution does it really talk about the consequences? It just says what you should do.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the consequences.
I kind of like it. Everybody does do. They justify or rationalize doing what they want somehow. Let's think out the consequences of this. Maybe this is why economics is not a division of mathematics, which is what most people think because of the arcane formulas that PhD economists use, incomprehensible and meaningless formulas. It's a division of ethics because an economist is one definition, is a person that can see not only the immediate and direct consequences of what you do, but the indirect and delayed ones of what you do. Do what you want, but be prepared to accept the consequences. Well, what are the consequences? Let's figure them out. Immediate and direct, and delayed and indirect, and take it out as far as you want.
So you're saying a recognition of reality. If you simply can recognize reality, then you will almost necessarily behave in an ethical manner.
I think it's a good survival strategy for the long run.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is a really interesting subject that is hard to deal with because you can set up all kinds of straw men.
Yeah.
What if? That old philosophical problem. It's that you're in control of a switch and a train is running out of control. One person or 100 people, and who are you going to kill?
Yep.
Yeah, that thing. And you can structure it in so many different ways where you're directly responsible for killing that person, but not really responsible for the other 100 people dying. Right. So, which is better? Listen.
Yeah, they try and push you down a utilitarian thinking around it, where more lives are saved and all that. But that seems like that's the wrong way to view any ethical thing, is a utilitarian fashion to me.
Yeah, I just don't like to use coercion against other people. But on the other hand, as John Hunt and I explore in our last novel in particular, and actually all three of the novels, is I'm of the opinion there are some people that just need killing.
Yeah.
Even if they've never done anything immediate and direct to me.
Yeah.
So do I have a right to reach out and touch them, as it were?
And this is where you push the boundaries in the ethical question of, do what you will, but be prepared to accept the consequences.
That's right. Well, what's the worst they can do to you? they can execute you. I guess they could torture you before they execute you. That'd be bad.
But yeah. And I think, I mean, like, here's an example of, there's a story that circulates as meme online every once in a while where it's a guy who waits for somebody who molested his daughter outside of the courtroom and assassinates him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think most people who see that are going to be like, that was totally ethical.
Yeah.
That was the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
And he goes to jail and totally fine with going to jail, totally embracing the consequences of it because, but he did what he thought was right.
But if he lived in a properly
functioning society,
a free market society, any juror, you would acquit him.
Yeah.
So you don't need to pass laws about if you kill somebody, you just leave it up to the jury to decide. And of course, this leads to, one question leads to another. That's why I believe in jury nullification, which is basically illegal in the U.S. But interestingly, most people are unaware of the fact that jury nullification is one of the things that a jury is supposed to do. They're supposed to judge the law.
Right. And now, so that's illegal in the U.S.
Oh, pretty much. You're not supposed to say that it'll be a mistrial if anybody mentions that the jury can judge the rightness or wrongness of the law the person's being prosecuted
really?
for.
Yeah. I know they always give very narrow directions, the judge does, to the jury, to decide whether or not technically this thing was violated in this way. You
guys are really nothing but a computer to decide this. You have no independent thought about what's right and wrong. That's beyond your ken.
Jury nullification. Yeah.